Hi guys, welcome to our second workshop about land stewardship. We'll be touching all topics that have to do with buying land, finding land, setting intentions for it, and purchasing it as an individual or as a collective, including the legal framework around it. We'll be touching on DAOs and really everything that has to do with stewarding your piece of land.
Yeah, we had some really amazing guest speakers, exemplifying the power of a mastermind. A real estate expert here in Tulum buying and selling Ejido land and title land and helping foreigners and locals buy and purchase land. A legal expert, Andoni, CLO of Petgas, a company turning plastic waste into energy, and his experience with technicalities in the Mexican legal framework that allow us to, combined with our third expert, NFT creators, use NFTs and digital contracts to purchase land through digital means and connecting them to physical contracts and Mexican corporations. Real magic stuff this week, guys. Join us for workshop 2 in the next section. All right, so am I there on the screen?
There's no way.
Okay, guys, happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Paledora Co.Creation Campus, and welcome to our RegenTribe Co.Creating Regenerative Community Workshops, where we are holding a space and inviting those interested in the topics of co-creating community projects together, specifically land projects, where people can live in connection with themselves and in connection with nature. The topic today of our workshop is land stewardship. So topics that explore what it looks like to find land, what it looks like to purchase land, the best practices here in Mexico of how to understand ejido land versus title land, for example, is one topic that Carlos and Abraham are going to be sharing with us today. We're also going to be sharing a regenerative project today, which is in the form of Petgas, a beautiful company turning plastic waste into energy, gasoline, diesel, and other types of fuel. They also will be linking into this presentation by showing us and explaining to us how they are using cryptocurrency, NFTs specifically, which is pretty much just a digital contract, to fund portions of their project. And this ties into land ownership. How can we use digital assets and cryptocurrencies to also co-purchase properties? I'm grateful you're all here. And without further ado, I share Andoni.
Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah, come on up, you.
Hello, Pam. My name is Andoni. I'm a lawyer here in Tulum for the last 4 years. And for a while now, I've been working mainly in 3 categories that I hope you find as fascinating as me. Real estate, from litigation to permitting to construction, 360 degrees from how an investment fund looks at it, or how a foreigner looks at it when it's buying an apartment. And then I started to transition into energy, particularly solar energy at first. From a real estate perspective, you can imagine the importance land has for these type of projects, as do they all. And coming from there, I started to develop this journey into alternative and renewable energy projects. One in particular caught my heart, and it's Petgas, where I am proud to say I'm a chief legal officer of the company, that is bringing into our dynamics, our plastic relation, a new option to transform plastic waste, which have no value, especially that plastic that is not recyclable, which is nearly 91% of all the plastic we produce, and most of the plastic that goes to waste. Usually, that would end up in a landfill, creating environmental debt. Through a technology developed by a Mexican engineer, Edgar Padilla, we've been able to put a new way to look at plastic that's called non-catalytic pyrolysis, which allows us to transform any type of plastic simultaneously into 5 different types of clean fuels. And through this project, I was able to get to know Oscar and found a very strong resonance with a common concept between all of us: regenerative development. What we start to see around plastic to fuel projects is looking at circular economies and new ways to optimize and draw around them so we can scale down our impact, our negative impact on our environment, our space, and we can scale up our positive impact on a space and on the value chains that are created from that space. And through this, we've come to develop a model of deployment that has found today a new form of expression through an NFT collection of Gorilla Gang. I'm here with some of my partners like Paco, our creator of the Gorilla NFT, Elio, who's been our crypto head honcho. And between these guys came a proposal that today we were very happy to share with some of the RegenTribe that are now Gorilla holders.
Yes.
And getting the word out to everybody out there. So what are we doing exactly? Gorilla NFT is a venture that came out from the mindset of a matcha venture that developed an idea around it, a concept that went beyond just the trade, just the technology, and it started to focus on community. How could we use a tool that is now red tape free, that is bureaucracy free, where we can interact in easier ways in a equally legit manner, as if we were holding a shareholders assembly or as if we were having a condominium assembly, and work that into a piece of art. A piece of art that connects you to mainly 3 different ventures. One in particularly that brought me to the table was PetGas. These guys are using state-of-the-art crypto NFT blockchains in order to harness the power of decentralized wealth that's coming from a new economy beyond what we used to have in pesos, dollars, and gold. And they came with a very strong commitment to develop not only the culture around looking at plastic waste differently, but also the infrastructure and bringing digital projects that are building a bridge to cross that gap into what they call IRL, in real life. And that's only one step. But our second step that also relates profoundly with today's topic is that every holder has a certain benefit or right. And in our case, once you have 5 of our Gorillae tokens, what you get is access to a treehouse. And we're not talking about just a treehouse on a screen or on a metaverse, but of a place in Tulum where you can actually be staking it when you're not using it. And that's getting you a revenue directly through that channel, directly through that mechanism. You do not need to go even to a bank to take that action. You're no less than 3 clicks away to something that would usually take you months to be able to facilitate. And to do that, we see it from the perspective of impact finance. When we do something under the category of impact and regenerative, we try to see it in what is the best possible way. How can we make it 1,000 times more sustainable and not just a little degree of less unsustainable? And the way to harness that is mainly by focusing on what we call sovereign capacities. How can a space hold us, take care of our waste? Plastic is one of our biggest challenges. How can it take care of our health and our nutrition? How can we have productive edible jungles cohabitating and breaking several economic cycles that have clearly shown themselves to be inefficient, like most of the traditional agroforestry? And all of these theories have come down to an amazing project that bundles it all up. And I would love for Paco to tell us what are some of these ideas of how we're using NFTs to package everything. If, as a lawyer, they asked me, I would say it's marketing. But beyond marketing, it's got financial services attached. It's got legal certainty services attached that are usually highly expensive and unavailable in most legal systems in the world. And here, only with replacing a paradigm from analog to digital, we're able to harness the power of what we today depend on, emails. Who here could remember when that was a thing? When it became something, rarely would someone in your friends have one. But now we cannot live without one. It's that facility that we are now bringing to an NFT collection. That's Gorillae and the Gorillae gang. So Paco, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Andani. Thank you, Andani, and thank you everyone for letting us come to this amazing co-work space and to this amazing general place that we are seeing here as a crypto vortex, because it's just everyone is interested on crypto and we're all finding the best place to start building. And besides the Gorilla Gang, I'm Tarzan, and I founded it 5 years ago with the matcha brand, as he was mentioning. And this was my vehicle to bring my mindset and the ideas I have for this world, which I think everything seems sustainability. So going into the real estate side, I don't think our biggest challenge is funding, or our biggest challenge is getting the things to work. Our biggest challenge is to actually do sustainable development. Even it all breaks down since you are scheduling your work, and since you are sourcing your ingredients, like to build your product, of course, all the materials and where they're coming from. And there's many aspects to consider of this big challenge, because our laws are still not backed up as well as the blockchain contract up there. Sadly, our laws are roundable, and you can go somewhere else if you want to. But we want to bring the blockchain structure into communities first. So that was what Andani was saying. Building a community also in Tulum. The guys from Regen, I appreciate and admire all your movement you've been doing for years. And your community is gonna be the vehicle, so we can start pushing from below to everyone and governments to adopt this transparency, this movement of transparency, and being conscious really on what you're working here, because on blockchain, everything is like a long ticket on the calculators used before. Like everything you're typing, everything you're processing is all left there, and there's no way like you can go around this time. So big challenge here is on the development side. We launched a week ago, and what Andoni was saying is the treehouse is gonna be our second drop, where we want to sell to the community we are bringing in right now, because it's very important to start and to launch it according to your project. Because if you are filling up your project with hype, that hype goes away. So you want to start bringing the correct people, the correct investors into your community, because it's people you're gonna live with on a decentralized way. It's gonna be, well, our project is projected to be 100 tree houses where you will have like amenities and a place, of course, good internet, because we are digital nomads, many of us. Good internet, good place to grow food, and many other things that we are planning on it, so we can showcase it. And we actually gonna build like the show homes, similar to the Ekumal homes, that we love that project, and we are just willing to help everyone build their. If you need help on NFT community, we are NFT developers, and we are amazed on how this tool can be the first step towards your project and your real life community that people is willing from all over the world. There's many people from different sides of the world willing to come here to Tulum. It's on the standards of someone from New York, from someone from Hong Kong, and it's still kind of rural. So we would love to keep it like that, and imagine just if all developments start being generative and with the fractals and with the space respecting everything, and of course with a sustainable development. Like, why using concrete if you got the cocoa waste here and the cocoa creek? So yeah, it's nice meeting you all, and everyone here. I want to connect with these type of people for future projects and for my community, the community we're building, because it's decentralized from the end to the beginning. I gotta grab an NFT to be part of this movement if I don't want to be left out. So it's decentralized since the beginning. I will be the founder or co-founder, because honestly, I've been building 5 months with Elio and Andres, and now meeting amazing people all over the world. But how I want to conclude is that
Giveaway.
we can give away right here a gorilla, of course, and down, because this is like the best place I can be right now. And yes, NFT communities have so much power, because there's many projects out there that they're not even willing to show their face and to connect as we like here, as we were saying, Sonia, that it's amazing that we can build online, but there's a part that is being left out if you don't gather and meet at least someday. So we're willing to bring the gorilla community into Tulum for building. Like, this is, all these minds are being filtered out. So like we're saying, okay, here's the project. If you invest, this is what you can aim to, like actually come and live here. And we want to take action on plastic, no? Yes, I'm focusing totally on like the community thing, on real life community.
Like the beach cleanup community that we're having on Sunday, it's a great example of how we're using Discord as well. Like, yes. You guys, I'm preaching to the choir, but to us, it's been amazing to harness our organization's intention to be active in beach cleanup, to be supportive of beach cleanups, and use an NFT ecosystem to put that together, to actually bring people to take action, to organize themselves. And I think that's a huge step on self-government, and self-regulation.
Yes, of course. It's big part that the project starts somehow on a centralized way, because they need leaders and they need to follow like the people that has the will to start, and they'll go behind you. But at the moment you formalize it, it's like you say, everyone like, hey, come over here, and we are all here. That's what I was mentioning. We'll remain founders, but that's it. We're not the owners, and we're not any one boss. We are just holding our NFTs and being one with our DAO. And that's a thing. That's a thing. You can now go Wyoming or Colorado and register your DAO. That's something we're gonna do really soon once we finish our sale, and that's how we're gonna manage our community. We're doing green businesses, green ideas, green development, and if there's any profits out of this movement, the DAO will be receiving 50%, and that way we can partner up with many brands, many movements, many things, and actually start regenerating as Regen and as you guys inspire us, and we were willing to come down here and help build, and we're here. Nice meeting you all, and we will do the Gorilla NFT giveaway, of course. Thank you.
So, Elio, please. Last but not least.
Hi. So I am Elio. I'm member of a couple of DAOs now in the blockchain space. Primarily, we started with the cyberconks on ETH, but I spend a lot of the time on. When I realized that there's this new chain, kind of like ETH in the early stages, like when I told my friends to buy Ethereum back when it was $100. Now there's a new opportunity of this new chain called Solana, but it's $100. It has a lot of the basic mechanisms that Bitcoin, plus the mechanisms that make Ethereum, which is the open smart contract capability, so you can build on top of it. And they're even taking it to the next level, which is proof of stake. Because right now we know that Bitcoin, Ethereum, they do proof of work. Ethereum 2.0, which is promised to be the most awesome thing in the world, which I love and I'm putting all my money into. It's years away, unfortunately. And the reason why it's years away is because 80% of the total Ethereum liquidity has to be locked in Ethereum 2.0 to Ethereum 2.0 to actually be live. Once that does, means that the whole Ethereum ecosystem, the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, is going to operate in this new proof of stake, which is basically the way that it mints new tokens, the way validates transactions, the way that blockchain actually operates, which is this new transparent and permissionless way that we all are now using and finding use cases for this type of system. So just transitioning to this new chain, Solana, which is already working with proof of stake, which is already processing 60 billion transactions with only 1,500 nodes. I saw the potential of the scalability of this new technology like NFTs in a platform that has scalability capabilities. Kind of like I'd like to compare Solana to Apple. Apple is been doing computers forever, kind of like Microsoft. But once we got into phones, like mini computers that we can all carry, that's when Apple took off, because that has that scalability factor. So when we're trying to build a net in top of a network that it has all the same fundamentals and benefits that you can do with a Ethereum NFT, and now you can do it in a faster way, a more scalable way, and for a fraction of the money. Because like $50 is the average for NFT right now, transaction fee on Ethereum. Right now we're paying like 1/4 of a penny on Solana. So it's just like a best, is the best right now and a better way just to transact this type of NFTs. Now going back to the Gorilla, what Gorilla is doing is they have 4,000 NFTs that you can just buy with a simple transaction. If you have Bitcoin, you can change that Bitcoin for Solana in a decentralized exchange or centralized, and put that Solana into a Phantom or Soulflare wallet, which is a totally decentralized wallet. Like it's not controlled by an exchange, which I don't recommend you hold your points on an exchange. Now you have it on a decentralized wallet, and you can just connect to any protocol on the chain. It can be a DEX like Radium, Mango markets that give you like insane APY, which is like DeFi world. But you can also connect it to a mint site and mint at Regenerative, or you can connect it to a marketplace and buy any of the other awesome NFTs that are being built on Solana. So doing that, what do you do when you get the NFT? Well, Discord, because it's like a more advanced WhatsApp, is working with the Ethereum team and the Solana team, developing protocols. These protocols are what we call social network protocols, which allow you to, just like when you do an Instagram account, you have to have your email and then verify that email. And then now they know that you're a person. And then if you don't do that, you cannot follow someone else. You cannot follow another Instagram account if you don't have your own, and you have to go through the process with them. So similarly, you don't have to go through the process of doing an email or that just to get a phantom, but then now you purchase the NFT. So now you have the account by purchasing it, by doing a decentralized wallet. Once you have that account or that NFT, then you can have access to this DAO, which is what we're talking about. The way that you connect right now through DAOs is through these decentralized protocols. Example, Matrica, example, Grape. When it's like going to a club and then they ask you for your ID. They don't take your ID, but they ask you for your wallet, and then you show your ID, and then like, okay, you're over 18. Or maybe you go into a VIP club, and then they want you to spend money, and it's like flashing your wallet and be like, look, I have a bunch of $100 bills. Like, okay, come on, you're gonna spend. So in this case, now you buy an NFT, whether it's cheap, not cheap, whatever it is, exclusive, not exclusive, you got it. So that's a ticket for something. It has access, benefits. It's attached to something due to a blockchain. So now connecting it to Discord, kind of like the Discords that RegenTribe already has, it allows for verification that you're a member of that group. Because if it's just an open Discord, anyone can just like join, or if you close it up, anyone that's inside can just do a link and then share a link too. So now with verification with NFT, you have to purchase the NFT, connect it to the protocol. They verify inside your wallet what NFTs or what tokens, because NFT is just a token with a token address. It's a non-fungible token. And then they check that the address of that token is in your wallet. That grants you access to the DAO. With the DAO or the DAO channel or chat or whatever you want to call it, that's just like information that it's like a Telegram group that only the founders are talking to. And then they have the open Telegram for everyone that they invite, right? So now these open one is 4,000 the closed one, the private one is for 4,000 people, because we want to make an impact, but only the ones that are buying in can be entering one by one this chat. And this is where all the decisions are made. Now, this is where you get into decision making. So that's what DAOs are for. It's a form of making decisions in a collective way, in a form that is no corruption involved in it, because there's no way that it can be corrupted unless someone voted for you over that computer. But like whoever that NFT voted, whether it's you or your wife that used the NFT to vote in the DAO, that vote is going to be casted and it cannot be changed. So now you have a really 100% actually transparent way of tracking voting records and decision making. And it's that increases a whole layer that we don't have with our leaders, whether it's a local government or regional or even like in the corporate level, that your decisions or your interests are getting are pushed on into the reality. So now we create this layer of trusts, because like just by community, just by doing 2-3 votes, and just by history, now it's like credit. How do you build credit? Well, you need to start getting some credit and then paying it back on time, and then you start building, or not on time and you still build back credit. But you need to start a credit account in order to start building credit. So you need to start a DAO and start making decisions and voting with this decentralized way in order to build a trust. And that's why the first DAOs that are already making decisions and that have made decisions, like Paco was saying, not in a centralized way, but in a decentralized way. Obviously, the proposals are being pushed by the leaders, but the decisions are making by the collective. Now you're building this trust. That's why the Monkey DAO, which I'm representing, and I'm enabling all this information for the Solana network, it's like the Harvard of the DAOs in Solana, because it has the most history. It's a history of 6 months of making decisions in a ledger, and that gives the trust for other people to make the history of the whole decisions they made and how they come along and where they're now, just with a guy like speaking about them into Loom. And if you go check after this talk and you go check into their DAO and everything, you can just see the whole history, and it's there. It's verifiable. It's not someone just telling you a story. And that's the actual power of decentralized voting system and governance. One, the permissionless to access the actual DAO. Like someone in Russia can buy an NFT and be part of this DAO right now and listen to this information and make an impact in their local community. Or someone in Ukraine just hiding from the war, just like with a YouTube or maybe with a Google Meet, they can listen to this. Or maybe they can look in a YouTube and learn about this gorilla NFT, buy it, join the DAO, and then look at all this information that I've been like displaying for our holders and our supporters for months now. So it's just like really powerful way to connect. There's like just one conversation with someone can change the world. Or just imagine how they always said, like, you need to be in bigger, like when you're the smartest people in the room, you need to go into other rooms and other rooms. So NFTs is a teletransportation machine into other rooms. just by purchasing an NFT or getting into a community or getting gifted an NFT, or now you, like, whoever wins the free gorilla NFT, you're not gonna have to invest. You just came to this room, and then you're gonna get a free NFT and then now you get into the room that I go, in every room that I go, because I carry that gorilla family with me. And in every room I go, whether I'm getting information out or receiving, then I share it back with my community. And that's how we all advance together. Because, I mean, it's logical. We all know connected spiritually or mentally or mathematically, even, like, together we grow faster. It's like obvious, right? Like, one person cannot do much more. So how can we do more together? Well, we all have to have the same information first to understand. Before we even decide how to move in a direction, we actually have to understand the information. So that's why we are here. And then we offer free consulting for our holders. You're getting it just by being part of the conversations and the decision making. Even if you don't know where it was to vote, just by sitting in, you're like, oh, I think I like that direction. I think I like the direction. And then you start casting the votes. And that's how the actual real intentions of our community are being manifested into the world, which is what we didn't have before. We've been in this system of centralized for ever since forever. Like, we had centralized governments, and then we created decentralized governments, which is democracy, but it has corruption. Then we had centralized information forever, and then we created the internet, which is decentralized information, and it puts us in this, like, accelerator over the last 22 years of, like, putting more information out there. Now, with all this internet decentralization of information, now everyone has more information. Now we realize that the system of the centralized banking for the last 120 years is like the worst system ever. Like, it's just like monopoly money. And we've been at it, trapped for 120 years. And all of us were born in the last 120 years. So it's all we know. But if we look into a macro, like we will always do, before we were trading metals, we were trading goods, like frijoles, and give me a tortilla, or give me some land, and I'll give you some cows. And so that was like more value. We didn't have the trust, but the value didn't go down like with fiat paper. So now we're going back to that, going back to the trading days of peer-to-peer, what it is. But now we have a system, thanks to our technology, to verify all those transactions. Because before, even though it was peer-to-peer, give me this piece of land, I give you this gold and this cow. There was no way to verify, like you have the land now. Now my wife can come in and it's like, oh, this is my house. And it's like, no, like I give a cow and I go to your husband so he can give me the piece of land. And the wife's like, no, this is my land. There's no way to verify. Now we can verify. And like I said, the exponential part is that you can connect everyone just by buying one NFT. It's like going through this KYC, like we're going through this investor screening, and then you want to, like, all these 10 steps. Now you just, with the 10 steps you got to do now is buy the wallet, buy the Solana. But then once you do, you're in the world. Like, I already have my wallet and my Solana. Now I can just, like, at one click away of joining any room that I want in the world. Like, I want to join the monkey room, I buy that NFT. And then that's when you get into us, the gorilla. So we are focused on not only bringing this information, but once you know everything that I just said about the capability of this system, like which collections I should go into, which collections are working on the stuff that I'm working on, that I believe in. Like you guys are working on this. So, like, I'll bring everything that you guys are doing to my monkey. That'll be like, there's these people in Tulum working on this. I talk to them about digital real estate, about DAOs. And then that's how the connections are made. And then I talk to you about the gorillas. And then that's the power of DAOs. So just, if there's any questions, I'm here in Tulum, and definitely, just because it's a magical place with all this information and people are like trying to build these things are gathering right now. And my goal, my focus, my drive, my purpose, my mission is just to empower as much individuals, both with information and tools, so we can create as much DAOs, each one with its own individual, more specific mission on how to help their area, but they're all going to be functioning in the same decentralized system of decision making that is gonna be up to each DAO to build their trust and their participation, their contributions, but it's all going to be recorded. So anyone that is joining with time organically, because this is just mass adopting little by little, more people want to know about crypto, they want to know about NFTs, they want to know about land, they want to know about something in this more permissionless, transparent world. So when they're coming, the sooner that we have that history is going to really build on the trust. And that's like the real strength of that community. And that's, since it's limited, if you want to do it limited, also as more people are coming in, the value of the whole collection or NFT or access to that community, it's going higher. Kind of like with those developments that we have here in Tulum, the people that bought the land at the beginning, it was cheaper. Now it's more expensive. So thank you. Any DAO questions, just make sure to connect with me or with my team. I'm more than happy to help and empower this new way of organizing our decentralized and autonomous wishes and actually put them to work in a way that everyone can hold you accountable and they can trust, and they're not thinking, they can fully put, you see how I put all my energy in? Because I know everything that I'm doing is like verified, no one's gonna steal from me or no one's gonna it's everything in blockchain. So it's like dedicating your life to a nonprofit that you know that the founder is not gonna just disappear and then you put 5 years on a nonprofit and they're gone. Now it's actually somewhere that even if the founder is gone, it's autonomous. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's like a chat that you put in WhatsApp and then you don't even look at that chat, but it's still going and it's always going. It's this one, but bridging the...
I'm going to summarize some of your points and ask you a few questions to kind of link it all together.
I'm just going to link that to this, linking the governance, linking the information, and linking the monetary system, which is what we did over like hundreds of years. Like the decentralized government, the monarchy, the democracy, the information, internet. Now, central banks, blockchain. So it took us those how many years, but those three are together now. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you guys are, and when one of the ones are not, it's gonna be lucky today. Is gonna join.
Yeah, I mean, just to close it up with a raise of hands here, and bueno, of course, in the community, please, Regen Fam, help us crypto organize all of this. But who here has a wallet of Phantom or Solana? Raise your hand. Okay. Perfect. So it's like wearing shoes.
Everyone's getting one, actually. That was a surprise. Everyone who actually already has a wallet is getting one for free. Everyone's already in this, and to his point, we need to start doing these wallets and then start doing these discords, like he was saying before. When the email came along, we didn't. I don't have one, and just we postponed it till now. Everyone has. Now you need it for everything.
Once you
now
need
you have
it,
one.
you don't have it. No, your name is no longer available. So
We have a question on how that is. Do you want to answer this?
shoot, of course.
Okay.
So guys that have an iPhone, you can download in the App Store the Phantom wallet. It's called Phantom with a P, or Sol Flare, like SOL and then flare like a solar flare. And in the Android, it's only Sol Flare available. And that's the mobile wallets that you have. Those ones are super secure. You only need 12 words to access. If you lose your phone, you can just connect in another. You buy a new one. You download the app with those 12 words. Everything is gonna be there automatically. So, and then if you lose phones, you just go to a computer, download the same thing, put the words. Everything's gonna be in there.
So throughout today, please download it, have it open, send it to us so that we can have your wallet address. Don't worry, we won't take any pesos out. And once we've got that, we'll be able to send you a little gift from the Gorilla Gang to welcome you guys to this amazing opportunity to take us a bold step forward into digital art, merging with sustainability and overall land stewardship in this case. Thank you so much, and we're open for questions.
Cool. Yeah, we have one online. Let me, Joshua. Let's see. Ooh. Okay. Go ahead, Joshua.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Josh?
What's up? So I like what you guys got going on there, obviously. hopefully everybody there gets their Phantom masks set up on their for the first time. I mean, it's true. It's basically your decentralized ID for your future when you think about it. But nobody can take that Phantom wallet from you as long as you don't share your seed phrase. So it's very important. And like Elio was saying, Solana right now is around $100-ish. So you're basically looking at the next $3,000 to $4,000 opportunity potentially here, right? Like this isn't going to go anywhere away, especially with people like Shaq just joining the Solana marketplace. I don't know if you guys know. So he's now openly involved with the Solana Magic Eden community. And so that's just not going to slow down whatsoever with Solana's NFT marketplace moving forward. And the network in general, not even just with NFTs, but with applications and the tokens. Yeah. and also to add on to that, you know, you have MetaMask. They don't have like a camera function, whereas the Phantom app on your iPhones do. So what that's actually allowing us to do is actually be pioneers faster than Ethereum and MetaMask. And what you can actually do is take your QR codes that you can get from your Phantom wallet per token. Let's say you want to make a token, right? And you want to accept that to get payments. Well, now you can take that QR code and just go paste that QR code on like your web page, okay? And then people can just go and scan that and send the transactions in the coin. I mean, it's literally that simple. MetaMask can't offer that. Ethereum can't offer that right now. Yeah.
That's the game changer. Thanks, Joshua. That point right there is basically the best points to showcase how
Did everyone hear the points? Did everyone understand?
Hear what Elliot is saying right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like what Joshua was saying is that Phantom, which is one of the specialized wallets for Solana, has this capability just kind of like WhatsApp that you just pull out your QR code and then someone scans it and then you can just add them to their contacts. Same concept, QR code. Someone can take a payment and you can screenshot, put it in even your Web2 website and start getting payments in Solana. Like anyone, I wish I could start accepting crypto. Well, anyone you can just by downloading a Solana wallet. You can buy an iPad, put in your little Tulum restaurant, and start accepting Solana. It's just a QR code away, kind of like Cash App did in the States. It's like super simple. Now you're doing it with crypto, and so Solana, that pioneer role.
And I think if you were like a business, you'd.
Before we move on, can you maybe give an example on to clarify and also to link it to land projects? How to use the blockchain, how to use NFT to purchase land as a collective?
So first step is a DAO, which is what I was talking about, like make the decisions of which land, everything. We start that and then they say that DAO already decided and voted through the Grape, through the Discord, and through all this, and now they're ready to buy the land. Now it's a question of the regulation since who's buying the land? It's a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's not like it's not a central entity. So there's no legislation for a central entity. So, for example, in the States, the way it's done is like you do an LLC. The LLC is the sole proprietor of the land. Now the LLC can be separated in shares and then each share can represent a token or an NFT, which is a non-fungible token, whether it has a picture or not. The people already doing it through them. They emit the tokens, but each project is specific. So it's not like you can just do it for development. So each project is specific because you need to determine the amount of tokens that is gonna be done. For let's say 100K property, a land that is $100,000, and you're gonna make 5,000 tokens. So then it's $20 a token. So, right?
Yes, that makes sense to me.
Each token, it's like a share. Now the property goes up into 150K. Now each of your tokens is worth $30. And so the token's tied to the land. Now, since the ownership of the land is not The only country you can do that right now is Portugal, where the actual NFT owner is actual owner of the land. Right now, since it's like a gray area, you're owner of the fraction, and the fraction is part of the whole entity. Now, what you can do still now is like offer that fractional ownership, and then as the perks or utilities for the NFT, you give them access, different accesses to the property, but it's not gonna be. They're not gonna be solely owners of that thing. There still has to be a layer, which is the real life layer, which is the LLC, ¿cómo se llama aquí en México?
SADCB.
La SADCB, broken down into the shares, and each NFT represents one of the shares. So that's how the structure is right now.
Those two underlie two very basic concepts in general law. So sometimes I feel that we lose a lot of context and vision when we try to define new channels for doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So exchange has been always there. So today, when we talk about doing exchange related with NFTs for land, it's about weaving it together. So we are free to choose any organization and model of governance that we want. The law has certain options or recommendations, but you can do your tailored suit and have your own organization. So what we've been building the bridge on is how can a company that can divide itself into infinitesimal number of shares in certain cases, particularly for governance and funding purposes, how can ownership that, I don't know if it's in English as well, co-ownership, you can have your mom and dad buy a plot of land, and sadly they will pass away someday, leave an inheritance of that land, and they will have 5 children surviving them. So those 5 children are and have always been recognized as co-owners of that property. It's as easy as that example. Our art is in weaving it together so that if the organization, the DAO, wants to have a legal standing, I recommend they always have a company to be used as for a specific purpose of that project, of that land. And that way, they can bypass some regulations that would restrict, for example, in the case of Tulum, foreigners from directly acquiring ownership or co-ownership of properties. So the NFT is basically a super fast vehicle for making this type of decisions and making this type of financing available. So instead of you having to go to the bank, to OXXO, to deposit whatever on a pre-sale apartment, that you didn't have a say of how it was being built, you didn't have a say about anything, you basically just bought into it and you couldn't even negotiate or speak out other than about your exact property. Here, you have the tools and you can legally recognize them under valid contract law in your company's bylaws. So right now, a company is run by a board, and it basically states all of these assembly of shareholders put their trust in one president and a treasury and secretary, and they get together to put a team to execute something, and move forward. In our case, we're able to do that in a way where it is no longer as hierarchical, as centralized, and as expensive. Because I don't know if as a foreigner, somebody has tried here to open a company in Mexico, good luck. So there's horror stories, and that's everywhere, but Mexico in particularly, horror stories. So how much would you have to do to acquire land in a traditional way? Because you would have to go as a foreigner and open a trust, open a Mexican entity, to then buy the land, to then do the regulations, construction. And it gets every time more complicated. And here we're being able to facilitate that same journey from point one to point two without going linearly, but just in one click, boom, it's there. If you have that NFT, that has a genetic code, a programming into it. And what you program is that property title. So if you've seen shares of like old school companies, they used to give out shares without a name. So you could trade them and I have my Apple shares and I'll trade them with you because I owe you. And as long as you show up in the bank or in Apple with that certificate, you would be paid your revenues. All of that can now happen one click away. And this is our heartfelt invitation to take that step into owning a real estate project in a destination like Tulum, even if it's a small fraction of it, but let's put our hearts in the right places. And I hope that all of you guys get it and get on board with the Galactic Gorilla Gang. And thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, guys, so a lot of technical information and a lot of specifics. This is the idea of this day. For experts in certain topics to come and share their magic, we'll be segueing to our next experts. A quick summary of what was just said. This new digital space, cryptocurrency, blockchain, is providing new tools that make it easier for individuals to get involved with collective projects. And that's the initiative that we're working on. Buying land collectively, for example, specifically. They shared a lot of strategies, a lot of words like NFTs, which are just digital contracts, like DAOs, which are essentially groups that decide together on a collective effort.
And autonomous.
And autonomously, right. So meaning a topic comes up and everyone is directed to vote within a time limit, and that's how it works. It doesn't require one person to do anything. And so these are tools that, like I mentioned, will be used for individuals to work on collective projects. The intention of these days specifically is to highlight the collective project of regenerative communities, spaces where people live in harmony with each other and nature specifically. And with this in mind, a community requires land. Land to build on, land to steward and protect, and land for the community to exist on. Today, we have two guests joining us, Carlos and Abraham, who are experts in the space of understanding the best practices, the legal framework, and the process, pros and cons for each, about land here in Mexico, especially in the Quintana Roo area where a lot of their activity takes place. They're going to do a presentation now where they're going to share what it looks like to purchase land here in Mexico with the intention of building a home or building a community, which is what we're talking about. So guys, I'd invite you up here to present. After this presentation where they share the information about land in Mexico, we will be discussing in the workshop space for whoever is interested in joining as well, how the digital side comes together with this physical side, because this is the bridge that needs to be built right now, right? The physical's been around for a long time, and this new digital space is up and coming and exploding. So the magic right now comes in connecting what a digital contract stipulates to how a physical place like the country of Mexico respects that digital thing. We'll be discussing that later on. And Doni shared some magic with me today that really pumped me up. And without further ado, thank you guys for joining and sharing.
Hello, how are you? Good. I'm Carlos. Well, I'm not so literated in the digital world, truly. I understand some things. I'm more from the older school, no? So it's a little bit hard for me to understand everything and then to connect, but it will get the moment, no?
Of course.
So our business or our work that we do is creating trust with people, creating that trust between a client and us. That's mainly our work. And then after that, we propose some of the lands and properties and the different ways that people can invest here in Mexico. No, the group is called Terrenos Tulum Real Estate. We are 4 partners that we are working here. I'm the newest here in Tulum. My other partners, they have been working here for 17 years in the area. What can I tell you? We have good contacts. We have good relations with people. We have the skills to help you to finally get the base of your dream here in Mexico. No, because I know many people is coming here to develop a dream, to develop a project, or at least your own, or that is including more people. So today we want to talk about that.
All right. Well, thank you, first of all, for the last presentation, because it opens a lot of our mind to do new business, the new way. We work in real estate, as he said, for 17 years. And the way it's done is, as you say, complicated with the contracts, with all the paperwork that you have to do. It's amazing to listen to these new ways, especially for foreigners, mostly, because it facilitates a lot of it. Like, it's incredible that the information that I hear, how can it be done now? No? The way we do it is, you go to a lawyer, you go to a notario, you go visit the land, and then you decide if you want it, you don't want it, you do the contracts. Everything has to be physical. Otherwise, people is like, okay, we're going to stay away from it. Of course, we work here in Quintana Roo, where a lot of the land is not even titled. And that makes it even more complicated for foreigners. But I mean, it's not titled. It hasn't been released from the government for anyone to buy it. Okay. No? Ejido, and that's, I think, our main topic here, because when you want to do communities, Ejido is already a community. No, the way the ejido is created is the land first in Mexico is from the state. No, the country owns the land, which makes us, all of us, owners as Mexicans. But then you have to go and work that land in order to get it from the state, and then you create an ejido. The ejido is basically a community. It's what we are trying to do here. Mm-hmm. But this has been done for 200, 300 years. I don't know how old are ejidos, but they're too old, like very old. In Mexico City, for example, you don't buy ejido, because if there's ejido there, or the land was titled 100 years ago, that means there's it's a red flag, no? Like, okay, no. But here, most of the land is from the state, and it's just it's been given to local communities to work as a community. So the ejido, the authorities, they give the land, ejido land, to live. So it's for the homes, no, for settlements. Then they give another area for all of us to get benefit from that land, which normally in Mexico is to grow food. But here in Quintana Roo, we know it's very difficult because of this. There's no soil, there's only limestone. So the real estate, the ejido has become like one of the biggest real estate agency in Quintana Roo and Yucatan, because the way they can benefit from the land is to sell it. And then another one is like cenotes, beachfronts, the pyramids. They can be part owners from the ejido also, and they can benefit economically. So they give the administration to someone of the community, and then they get the money, and then they share the money to all of us. No, I just came from Chacchoven, which is very close to Bacalar, and we were working with a team of ejidatarios that they're trying to make the ruins a little bit more attractive. So they're working with the cruise ships that come to Mahahual. They come there, they just barely start to organize themselves in order to have a restaurant, the guys that do food, the ones that send the handcraft, the ones that are making, like growing the food in their land. There's a program that is to reforest all the lands. So you can, like, me as an ejidatario, I can have 30 hectares, and I say, like, okay, I'm going to put 2 into this program. The government is going to help you. It's going to give you money to develop that land or to reforest it and put either mangoes, aguacates, where you can later actually sell it and benefit the whole community out of that. So what we are trying to do here is basically an ejido with a different name, no? And that it can be available also for foreigners, for Mexicans, for anyone that wants to participate on it. This new way of the electronic, it's amazing because it makes it cheaper to start with and so much easier. So it's a company that will need to get the access to the ejido, buy it, but then me as a company, I can just invite anyone, anywhere around the world to participate on it. The community, well, we all know how it works. It's a community because between all of you take a decision. That's the main difference when you have a title land. If you have a title land, even within a community, if you want to make a fourth story, a fifth floor, or you want to bring, I don't know, do whatever you want with your house, there is no one that can tell you no, we are a community. Yeah, but you are the only owner of that piece of land.
Centralized.
Completely centralized. And it's, as a foreigner, it's more complicated. No, it's not very complicated. It just takes a long time. No? Either you open a company or you open a fideicomiso. A fideicomiso, very few people that wants to create company wants to get into that because it's like having a mortgage. You have to do it through the bank. So the bank is your main representative as a Mexican. No? Your Mexican figure. So me as a foreigner, I come, I want to buy this land that is titled, but it's within 50 kilometers from the ocean. I cannot do it. I have to ask someone Mexican to be my representative. So either you open a company, you do the fideicomiso, or you just borrow someone's name, which is the worst practice that we can do.
For centuries?
For centuries, because, I mean, I can be like, you want to buy land and you are from England, and then he comes to me, I'm going to put it under my name, but then something happens to me, you're done. You know, there's no way for him to claim the land as a foreigner.
Can I put like a testament?
You can put it on a will, but then the ones that take the will have to do the process of acquiring the land legally. So it's still the same work.
Oh, okay.
You still have to do through the lawyer.
Unless you have a kid now, and then he is Mexican, but he was born here with the one that borrowed their name, and then with the will to the kid.
And then I will have to give the will to the kid, not to you, not to the father.
It's same as NFTs.
NFTs is super easy for what I am understanding, because I'm not very familiarized with it neither, but it's like there is one owner of the land, which is a company, and then the company has shares. So you have so if the plan is to build 100 houses, and you buy a land that is 100 hectares, and you have 100 shares at the beginning, pretty much everyone owns a hectare. Mm-hmm. No, as easy as that.
No, at this point, it would be very interesting because everything you said about the NFT and the way to buy land, ejido works like this.
Yeah,
it's the same. But there is something really important to understand. Is that when you own the NFT, it's a little bit question of terminology. Mm-hmm. But it's very important. As an ejido, or when a company would buy a land where the people will be divided through NFT, the NFT never will represent the ownership of the land.
Not yet.
Why not? No. Because the concept of community is there is one owner of the land,
which is the whole community.
And this owner of the land is the collective.
Yes.
So the NFT would only tell you or ensure you that you have this part or more, the part of the benefits linked to the usage, occupation, or possession of this land. Occupation and possession being taken in the Mexican legal approach. Because we are talking about stewardship versus ownership. It is very important that all this new exercise about NFT will give you ownership of a usage, a right, an occupation or possession, not and never an ownership.
Of the land, of the land. By the way, because you can.
It is changing. So that's why I say in the next 6 months, it's already happening in Portugal that you get the actual ownership, and it's being transitioned as we speak this week on the United States, in the United Arab Emirates. So
yeah, but even so, I understand what you say in Portugal. They will accept that the owners of one NFT, that the collective owners of one NFT are considered as a collective, a registered collective, as an ejido or as the shareholders of a company.
Yes.
It is just for them to accept that, in addition, in Portugal, of the Sociedad Anónima, okay, they accept a
collective as an owner.
As an owner.
Correct.
So the difference between Portugal and here is that in Portugal, you registered your NFT, you do not have to recreate a collective in terms of an association or a company.
And here still, yes.
Here still.
Yes.
But still, in 6 months, in 5 years, in 10 years, the ownership will is remaining the collective. It's not each people owns
not
a piece of land.
Not necessarily. Is it
I get it. It's if you and I are co-owners of this palapa, it's not that you hold half of it from here to there, and I hold it from here to there.
Percentage is like shares.
It's even in legal theory, the atomic co-ownership, collective ownership of every single bit of it. So I like it because in Mexico, in Ejido particularly, we come from a theory or from a principle of the land is of those who work it, and it's a more stewardship-oriented view than ownership. When I mention ownership, because I'm a lawyer, I talk about legal ownership. And something that would seem so ridiculous to have digital legal ownership through an image or through a token now is possible, because whatever we were legally able to do before, of separating property or the ownership or that, today in legal ownership, it's no longer a theory. You can do it because, for example, in contract law, ejidos that do a lot of rights contracts, or private property that has a buy-sell agreement, the law mandates that the agreement, in case of property, of real estate, needs to be in writing. Well, coding is more than writing.
So
there needs to be a clear manifestation of the will of the parties involved. Because in this case, it's like super authentic. There's no way someone else.
So wallet address that all can erase.
It gives you that highest quality.
You still have to do the same. You still have to do the same process, but only once.
Yeah,
and then the rest is the contract is on digital, and then it's easy to.
And that's the crazy thing. It changes the paradigm of ownership into this more abstract and more easily traded, more easily.
I guess the thing about talking about shares makes it more difficult because it's land and it's physics. So maybe if instead of shares, we like simplify it into, okay, each one has to invest this much, then everybody can own, and then you can separate, okay, you have a hectare. You don't have a part.
May I offer some clarification? Because I think I feel what John Luke is getting towards is that if we distribute the ownership of a piece of land, refraining from having one owner of an NFT be able to come in and do whatever he wants with that piece of land. Is that what you're...
Yeah, no, it's...
Because if you have someone from China that buys the NFT on a global marketplace, they don't have the rights. They have ownership of it as far as an equity, but they don't have necessarily the governance rights to come in and do what they want.
Exactly. When you come as an NFT,
the organization of the DAO first.
And you have a community land of 10 hectares, and then you say like, okay, I bought this much, I invest this much. Where can I build my house? And they're like, okay, that's what makes it very difficult to have it on digital. But if it can be specified in a contract, I don't see why not.
Exactly.
And why not facilitate all this work for all the people that doesn't want to go into this?
I mean, it's because it doesn't have to be a much. Let's just talk about one NFT. Let's say this land, and it's only one NFT, so it's not collective. this NFT, no doubt, this one NFT, and someone buys this NFT. So this one, it does have correct ownership of the shares, but they still need, like he said, a proxy. So just think of NFT as VPN. I cannot connect to the Netflix from Russia right now, but if I do a VPN from Russia and I put Netflix, it's gonna be the Russian movies, Netflix. So it's you're using the legal entity in Mexico that the DAO itself or someone in the DAO can open up. In this case, we're serving as that proxy, right? That Gorilla NFT collection. We are that proxy or VPN. And then that's why anyone that can come with the Gorilla, it has ownership. Now, if you want to do it for one, then it's the same thing as we have been doing forever. It's like if we go to the worst case scenario, which is the one that you're painting, that you still want ownership.
I'm not painting any scenario.
No, but let's paint all of them because each property, kind of like LLC, each property is different. It's gonna have different investors, different number. It could be 4,000 or it could be 2. Or it can be, and someone kind of have a DAO, some just 2 people with NFT. So it's all different. So it's all scenarios, good and bad, depending on relativity.
Yeah, because a lot of people might just want to invest.
The less convenient, let's call it. I'm painting the less convenient scenario. Kind of like when he said, you can do it this way, or just use some Mexican name, which is the worst way.
That's the worst way.
But I mean, so this was
it's a little bit complex, but maybe at that point, I mean, the people that do finance, for example, the difference in, how we can commoditize financially something.
Yes. Yeah. Commoditize.
So it's important when you talk about, okay, you map like an NFT or into a piece of land, which is a piece of a big land, okay? And we completely agree that there will be also a difference when you create this. If you commoditize the piece of land as a financial product, so basically people will start buying or selling, speculating, whatever, because they put a certain value in this token.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's coming much before what I want to say now, which is also many people wants to buy a land to do something with this land. And many times now, less and less speculate on the land because now people start protecting the land more and feeling more ethic toward the land. And they can understand that speculating on land is not the right to go. If you want to become rich, you do like Jeff Bezos, like Bill Gates,
Elon.
You stop speculating with pieces of our planet because you respect it a little more. You decommoditize this. Now, when you use, there is these 2 things. You use NFT to just, you use the word investing, because investing in the land kind of also have the same signification about thinking of having a return on investment and speculation and the difference of the price of the land.
I wouldn't say that return because when you invest, I'm investing right now time and energy. And that it gets reciprocated immediately with the attention that I get because attention is ultimate energy. So if you want to take it to the NFT and the speculation, so where does the stock market and options market come up? From a speculation, it's crop insurance actually. Crop insurance, before we didn't have a data for weather. So you have a land. I don't know if I'm gonna have a good, so I'm gonna plant this. I don't know if it's gonna come rain or fire because there was no technology for it just got wind to stars. So then insurance companies start coming. I'll give you insurance for this crop in case you can plant and you can have food. You're a producer. And that's how the whole futures market was born, options market. And it's like one of the biggest market in Forex trading. It's like tens of millions of dollars.
I'm not debating
no.
on like the good and the bad.
No.
I'm debating that working with commodities is very important. And as you said, that helps to finance the good things and the dreams. And that's what we want to do.
I was not saying good or bad too. I was saying that this new layer of option market inside NFTs is barely giving birth. Because just at the beginning, we were doing like the first crop insurance. Then someone's like, hey, I can do trading on the speculation of that. So what I'm saying now, as good or bad, is that this adoption is coming because these conversations that we're having about ownership and of land through NFTs are barely happening. So even though you're saying speculation or speculation, barely these deals are happening. So there's also these people coming in that are starting to speculate on these deals that we and me are talking about that we're going to build in the next 6 months. So that market that doesn't exist about options future trading for like that we have for land and we have for stocks right now in the option market is coming for NFTs. So, and it's coming for land NFTs. Yeah. It's just like they need the land NFTs to come first. But that speculation is coming too. And that's the actual market that's going to blow it all up because that's when the speculators comes, even though they're not direct participants in the market, they're participants for the speculation. So that's when, that's what I was making that point.
Yeah,
so,
but I love when you say this concept of ejidos and where you have to work the land. Also, this is exactly the difference.
Traceability, when I look at an ejido, sometimes you lose track of who's doing what, where. It's easy to hack. You go every 6 years, they change the board. And your file is got lost. 3 years. Your certificate of your 100 hectares. Oops, we miscalculated. I cannot find where it came from. Sorry, it's in litigation because it's recognized or unrecognized. So there are all these holes in the process. And when you change the paradigm from analog to digital, is like, to me, the huge value in that is you are literally taking a physical document that is only a proof of will, una prueba de voluntades. You're turning it into digital, not only because it's a picture. The fact that it's a picture is how you see it. But behind the picture, there's a code. And there's what they call metadata. Mm-hmm. So if I take a picture right now of a contract that you and I sign, and I sign it online, that picture will have information about the location of where it was taken, the time it was taken. Why do you go to a notary? Usually to have certification of time. So you're able to do all this in a digital paradigm where you create this envelope, this digital envelope. So you grab, and instead of making a paper file with the property title, the map, the topographics, the coordinates, the Google Earth,
you still have to do that once.
Yeah, you do it once, and then you put it into that envelope, that digital envelope. And now that digital envelope will give you that facilities that you were already able to do without it normally, but with less red tape. I was speaking to a client, a partner that's doing land development and is interested in NFTs, open to NFTs, and he's terrateniente. He's a landowner, a big landowner. And he understood it very easily when I told him that you're changing your paradigm, you're changing your medium. For me to sell a property and to populate it with cool people that are not going to mess it up or take care of it, pay maintenance, do positive things, be productive about it. So you need to put an office in the super traffic street in Tulum. You need to go on Google Ads. You need to be a realtor and have a listing. And a lot of things need to happen for your little project to have a voice and find someone. But here, you click and you're live.
It's a facilitator and accelerator of the process.
And just like shares, in companies, you can have shares that give you control of the board. And you can have shares as an investor where you do not have a vote. You have economic rights. And NFTs give you that, and you can put it to a degree. So it facilitates like all that we've been doing. And as a lawyer, Mexican lawyer, I see how we were in the Middle Ages. For the solidaridad, just to close this up. I love this for real estate. the municipality of Solidaridad, its public property registry, is migrating into a blockchain platform. So what is now probably an Excel database, no, that the Registro Público uses, is transitioning into this new robust authenticity chains, and it turns into digital. So whenever I sell my property or buy property, and I want to show the world that it's to my name, that I can go to a bank and use it as an asset for collateral, now you can facilitate that process through NFTs and blockchain, no? But it's that legal ownership that is facilitated.
I think what Jean-Luc is saying...
I think you don't really get, or I'm not
maybe
good
what Jean-Luc is saying,
to explain
in addition to the lawful and technical possibilities that come with buying land as a collective through NFTs, through blockchain, is the ethical perspective of it.
No,
right?
it's because what you said, for example,
sure?
in France, we already, create NFT, and the notary uses some blockchain application for the title.
Amazing.
Now, let's talk about the catastro, about the database that creates a link between a piece of land and an official owner with the law of the government.
Public owner, no?
Now, I understand. I mean, we know NFT, we have understood. Whatever you do in a company, whatever you do it with NFT, it's rule, regulation, work, governance between a group of people that use a certain type of application. Yeah. We understand that. Now, coming back to the land, at one point, the NFT and the blockchain world needs to be linked with the real life, because the real life is one guy or one family that was owner of this land that you just bought with your NFT, comes and he says, sorry, this land was mine.
Yeah.
He has a litigation. He go to court. It's going to be the court in Mexico. And the only element they will look at is the history of the land and its situation with, when it was registered to which owner, which is the cadastro, and this database.
Yeah.
So whatever you do that, at any point, when you want to give security to your land, you need actually to end up creating a link between file data in the cadastro, the official cadastro. Actually, it's not in Excel. It's a little better than Excel. And also, it's linked geographically with a kind of quite sophisticated geographic land application. And that's the key. You have to do that. I'm working with that. I'm raising capital in other countries. And, they give me capital. I say, okay, we're going to buy 100 hectares to protect this beautiful.
And you give a private contract to everyone that gives you money.
Unless I can prove that this money will generate an official feeling in the catastro de Tulum or whatever, they won't release the money. So, and we can organize it through raise the money, creating NFT, raising the money and buy the money. But
I created a diagram, and this could help explain a bit. Maybe we can, like you said, practical application. This is how we all
Let me just finish the sentence.
Right, go ahead, sorry.
When you will today create the link to the cadastro, which give you security, and then you can invest in making buildings without a high risk to losing them, this proof of cadastro will always be one piece of land linked to the collective, because you don't go through the laws, the Mexican law of subdivisions.
Yeah.
It is very important to understand that and to accept it.
Yeah.
Because conceptually speaking, one guy that have one NFT will never have at the level of the Mexican law, the owner of a piece of land. But that's okay. What we try to do now is to go from ownership to stewardship. So it's good, fine. But you don't have to mix it. You don't have to mix the terminology. You know, and the people that now want to work on the land and NFT, they don't give a shit about owning the land officially. You know, they have more trust in a blockchain application than in Mexican notaries.
Exactly.
So that's not the problem. The problem is to understand the power of the collective.
Yes, and
the land will be owned collectively, not by pieces,
not
at the level of the government.
So for now, yes. So that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
right now
we're working now. Every day we buy land.
Wow.
The future is the future.
Well, I mean,
no,
future,
forever.
like
No, I would never tell you what central. I'm old enough to know that things are changing. But the only thing I can't tell you, you know, if it takes 1 year or 5 years or 10 years, we don't know. But
At the status quo.
but it's when you make the sell, when you say to somebody, when you teach somebody what will be the NFT, how it is linked to the land, it is very important that he understand that the land is owned by the collective, and he owns and he receives by having this NFT, by having the share of the company, by having the virtual lot.
Yeah.
He receives some benefits, benefits that are given by the organization that is the official owner.
Right.
It is important to explain that because not all the people manipulate this concept and they say, okay, NFT, it's like I go to the notary and I own this piece of land. No, you will never officially own it. But you will have actually something much better.
It can be done eventually also because when you do the...
When you do a subdivision, it can be owned.
Yeah, exactly.
When you do a subdivision, that's not the issue. The issue is we let's work about collective and community. It is important, you know, not to mix the thing. Because when you sell through an NFT, a piece of land, you say, we are all the owners of NFT are entering in a collective, and the land is collective. But this is the beauty. This is why I love to do it.
It's not like
it's kind of like the fractional. It's kind of like you're buying a building or you're buying a fractional building. Like we have already done now. Like
Exactly.
So same thing. So each project is different. Like we have one project is timeshare, one project is fractional ownership, and then very coming very soon next month or two. Actual ownership. That one that you say is not possible, it's coming next month. So they're sticking the two are possible right now. Timeshare, fractional ownership.
Yeah, you have to do it with title land, that one, for example, because with the hidden land, this is still a community. So
if you want to know some alpha, the government's going to do it. Like there's some people talking right now as we speak. They're doing it. They're releasing the coins. So they're blocking all that for other people to do it because Mexico himself, they want to do like El Salvador and also Texas, like make it a commodity and not make it security. Because when you make it security, you have to go through the whole process he's doing. If you make it commodity, it's just a commodity. It's like buying land, like as we know it. But the government wants to have that centralized power over it. And Texas is going the same race. The guy that's running for governor, his campaign is all based on tokenized real estate and making Bitcoin commodities so it can accelerate this. And I'm from Texas. And I'm trying to do the same campaign here with you guys. But, I mean, that's the way.
So it's a yes and, I think.
Okay.
It's a yes, but the contracts have to be very clear, no? Like, especially if they are in the web, you know, like you can access to them, but they have to be very well done. But maybe for different kind of investors, because you can invest just a little bit, you will never be able to build a house in that land. You more just to get the benefit out of it. But maybe there's a certain amount of money that you can put, and then, okay, this one actually gives you this place in the land for that much to build your house. And then, like, you still own between other 1,000 people or 100 people, a part of the green areas. It's like buying like a condo between 10 friends. Now you have your room, you have your floor, but all the green areas belong to everybody else.
Common areas.
But you can also make a project for when no one wants to live there. They just want to put it on Airbnb. And then you can sell shares because it's like fractional ownership and you can own just a part of the building. So you only get a benefit of it. I guess it all can be done depending on the contract, how it's how it's done, no? Like exactly, exactly what is it, what you are acquiring with that amount of money that you're putting in. No, but I guess it's just clarifying the contract.
I've got a question. This may be more on the NFTs, but if you've got a community-owned property, you have all these votes coming in saying we want to do this or that. Let's say it does go to court or something where you actually have to represent in real person. How do you address that?
Well,
from your vote?
I would start usually in digital litigation in countries like Mexico that are written law, not digital law. And we are barely transitioning into digital law, but we are still in paper, written law. Mm-hmm. First thing you need to do before a judge is to present an expert, un perito, an expert that can give his opinion as evidence of what the digital what the digital evidence shows. The beauty of this is that the digital evidence, because of how it's made, it cannot be changed. So if they're telling me, who did you buy this land from? Where did your money come from? Where did I said this and you said the other, and you go back to a contract and to a contract with a lifetime where you have traceability of the agreements before it, which in property is one of the biggest claims in your favor, that you can prove that, that property came from a legal owner, and that came from a legal owner up until the way back, like theoretical to whatever title, no? So in our case, you go before a judge and you have very robust evidence to prove whatever happens, to have that legal reality exposed in court, unlike Mexican written traditional, where you can fake stuff, where it's easier to put a ledger or not, where it's hard to present copies, and you always have to be presenting.
Always there. And I guess you can do 3 or 4 different contracts for the same NFT, right? Like a silent investment.
Yeah.
Like you only invest, you have no word in the community.
Exactly.
You only
it gives you the tool to do that easily.
And then maybe with a certain amount of investment, you can be actually part of the community to come and talk about it and make decisions.
As an example of this, like you guys are talking ejido law, and this was very particular. We were working with ejido that Takbil had. So the ejido had 5,000 hectares, and within those 5,000 hectares, they had one area in particular of around 100 hectares, that it was a beautiful cenote park, theme park almost, no? The guys from the Quintana family of Xcaret had approached the ejido to buy the land to this, and they didn't transact because the ejido, as it's regulated by common practices, local, they had agreed between the commonality of the residents that they didn't want to sell. And if there was this interest to buy it, then they should invest on it.
Yeah.
But they were not subjects of investment. Some of them did not have their official ID. Some of them did not have their birth certificate or their tax ID. So we have to go door by door until we have 148 signatures and 148 secondary cases of let's go get your bank account, let's go get your tax ID, and we have to do it all manually, This community, I think 70% of them had Facebook and had their cell phones and would connect to them regularly. If they had an application, a tool for them to manage the real estate, the land wealth that they have under stewardship, they would be able to take better informed, more transparent decisions. They would be able to administer it easily. So it's not only NFTs.
No, that's why they have
everybody
to do the assembly. Otherwise, they don't
buy Tulum speculatively from China. No. Let's give NFTs to an ejido, And I bet that you can make a very easy didactic application. Pim, pum, pam, pam.
It has to be like that. With Aikido, it has to be like that. Otherwise, it will
unless
never
you
work.
will spend the whole year trying to incorporate a company or sell one company.
But right now, the assembly are in Maya, so you have to you have to first put the Maya in the phone. I've been working on that project for 15 years.
Wow.
You know, I've seen the Maori started in Tahiti and in New Zealand, but, you know, Maya in Mexico, still not available in Google language.
But when you do it in an application, you can do something very basic infrastructure, very visual. They press, and you can have a tool to give people better management of their property, of their assets.
Yeah, like I told you, I just came from the Aikido, the Chakchoven, and every time they want to take a decision, a big decision, they have to call the assembly. La asamblea, and yeah, and sometimes it's like, okay, the juntitas, the juntotas, and it's like, okay, we have the asamblea next week, and half of the people show up. They can't do it. They have to postpone the asamblea.
Because imagine how hard it is for someone to have a life then go to a asamblea.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
So what happens when
if one does
put it with a camera?
Because that's the advantage that I see with NFTs, that only one of us, the community, let's say we are the community, one of us have to go, or two or three have to go and organize all these things. When it happens, then you can start like, okay, we have this contract, we have this, and then you put it on the website, and
you have more democratic agency.
Yeah.
You can take action. You're an investor, and you can decide to be passive and not do anything.
I don't think the contracts are easy, but it's very doable.
Yeah, you can be active and take action into what's happening to that land, how your decisions can influence what happens in that space.
How you, like the money that you invest, where is it going to go?
Especially when you're doing complex real estate projects, where you have land and that's an owner. Then you have the construction itself and that's another owner. And you're having one round of investment at first, but now there's a second one coming to make more room. And all of this would usually need to take a lot of steps, a lot of lawyer, a lot of people writing stuff down and putting income paper.
You also
can
look at the chart now.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of come from a high level one more time. All of these topics are aligned in the process of acquiring the land and legally representing it. So I think something that you shared with me that made it very clear for me. Right, this is kind of a diagram of all of the components we've been talking about, starting with NFTs, which are like individual digital contracts. These NFTs give you the right to participate in what's called a DAO. This is the decision-making entity that is, again, still in the digital space. This DAO gives each NFT holder a seat at the table to vote on certain topics. How money will be spent, what will happen in the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the challenge and what's being worked on currently, like we said at the beginning, is connecting this digital world to the physical world, and how Mexico, how Mexico accepts and respects these kinds of contracts that people are stepping into in France, in Portugal, in wherever people are buying in. So this is kind of the juncture where Andoni shared with me that there is a Mexican process where you can exchange things instead of using monetary value. Permuta. Permuta is the word, right? Essentially a trade of goods instead of a monetary exchange.
I tried looking for it in English to see if there was like a legal technicality to it, but it's exchange. Permuta is exchange trade. When there is no, not for money.
Right. And so what Andoni shared with me is that this is the land, right? This land is represented by a contract in the Mexican eyes or in the Mexican understanding. Your title. Right, your title of the land. This contract can be purchased by a Mexican company. Yeah. Right? What was the word for that?
SADCB? Yeah.
Okay.
LLC?
Okay, like an LLC, a company in Mexico. So I think the trick here that you shared with me is that This Mexican corporation in its bylaws points to the DAO.
Exactly.
So when the legal entity in Mexico says, okay, what's going on here?
How do we decide?
Right. How do we decide who's actually the people that can decide or that represent this land? This Mexican corporation points to a DAO that is made up by these NFT holders.
Exactly.
And so this is, from a high level, the chain of how individual people buying digital contracts can come together to make decisions in a safe way, and then be represented in the physical Mexican channel, let's call it, by the corporation pointing to the DAO, and that corporation being the one that holds the title of its title land, or in the other case, ejido, right, holding the usufructo contract, giving them the right to do stuff on the land for whatever that contract is an agreement.
But this is very well explained. Now, when you say that the thing point to the DAO, now in reality what happens? In reality, when you make a vote through the NFTs, so you have X vote, you have the calculation, you have the decision, and they say, okay, boom, this decision has been voted. Like, okay. When you do that on the blockchain, now you have to extract the information, okay? You have to transform it into an assembly of the shareholders of the company, You have to write the assembly in Word, whatever, and in paper, and you have to make it notarized by a notary. And that's the matter, right? That's the difficulty today. So that will probably.
So tell me how. Let me tell you how we hack it. Okay. You have an acta constitutiva, your company's charter, no?
Yeah.
And there's a chapter that says management, administración. There's a chapter that talks about acciones and how the shares are, and
you authorize the digitally.
Series A, 1 of 1,000. They can be to a name or they can be to the holder. So that is the standard of companies' bylaws. But we are free to tailor it, to customize it.
To accept.
So when I customize it, the notary sends me his acta constitutiva for an SADCB for me to buy property for my investors, and then they become my users, no? And I get that acta constitutiva and I tell him, Mr. Notary, please include that the board is going to be elected through the decisions taken by the Discord. The Discord channel, and you name it. And whoever is a holder of these tokens will be able to take a decision. No, that's how we customize it. And we keep on doing that so that it becomes, it points to, that's the part where the company's charter and bylaws is modified to accept digital domains for governance as valid explicitly, because now it's not up to a judge to say if it was okay or not. No. We said we agree, we put it in writing. It's not against the law. It's not against. It's not bad. So boom, it's legal. No. And another aspect of it is that whoever has this NFT, this non-fungible token, this token, one-of-a-kind token of a particular set, has access to the board. And you can design it accordingly. So when this goes into scale, it's easier for you to manage your decisions, because that shareholder assembly, you can now have it through digital.
Yeah, online instead of having to.
But you need to agree to it explicitly.
I
So
understand.
you grab your shareholders and you say, okay, we all agree that we can meet remotely. Yes, we all agree. Okay. And for a notary or corredor público, a public broker, to be a part of it and give it public faith, he should only either put his signature at the end of the process of decision where he can verify that those decisions were effectively taken through a valid channel.
All this actually makes
and can even show up on screen. So if you have a shareholder assembly, and that's how we're doing it, that's how we've been trying to understand the law in Mexico to do this. You have the notary there. The pandemic accelerated this. No, you have the notary on the screen, and you have the other person. They take your biometrics. They make sure you are you. You have the camera there. And for companies, their charters accept that you can be on the board sitting remotely. And that's how you weave it together between digital and traditional law. No?
A big advantage that I see on this is that it makes it for a foreigner pretty much the same to buy titles or ejido or whatever, because you're making a private contract with someone that already
as long
secured
as the title is good, as long as the title is secure.
Orden de posesión,
and for me, this goes more into giving tools for us to self-organize better, more than the financial speculation of it. Like, I think of the possibilities. How many people would buy land in Mexico to create bio corridors when land costs 50 cents a peso a square meter because you're in Tangamandapio, Michoacán? You know, nobody cares, nobody knows, but it's a super specific wildlife. And what you would usually have to take a plane, go to Mexico, find a broker, go to the notary to take action for a private natural reserve. Now you can do it with one click, with your wallet away from...
And with a good notary.
Yes.
Because that's the point.
In Cancun, I have the best with digital vision. So happy to share. And if you ever find someone that tells you, I want to pay in Bitcoin, or tells you, hey, I want to tokenize this, we are doing this. We are starting at it. It's barely like very experimental stage of this technology, but it's coming, and it's coming in hard because it's very robust technology, very innovative. It changes and it accelerates how we process our land management. No? And I think it's coming that way.
I think so, because like I've been talking with some of the landowners. Like recently I talked with one guy, he bought ejido, he has his usufructo, everything, but he wants to sell it and develop somewhere else. So I was talking about like these kind of reunions, everything. He's like, man, I will take Bitcoin, I will take like any kind of payment if I can use it somehow. No, but he doesn't know, he's like older than me and he doesn't understand anything about electronic.
Is he Mexican?
No, he's Argentinian, and he has that's why he has an usufructo contract. That's why he has an usufructo.
So as a foreigner, when you buy into an ejido or purchase or want to use land that's ejido, which is indigenous land, you are issued a usufructo, which is a contract of use.
Which is like leasing it. Before it was for 50 years. Now with the new rules, it's only 30 years. You can renew it, or you also have 30 years to title the land, which is what most people do. Because it's a process that when it comes by itself through the ejido, it's very cheap, very easy to do. If you want to do it by yourself, it's very complicated. No? But it's the only way that you can actually secure this land, and then you have 30 years to see how you develop, how you evolve.
So when this Argentine has his usufructo contract,
he can transfer those.
Let's say we want to buy it, right? I want to buy it, or us, this collective wants to buy it. We each have an NFT, and we're going to split it, right? So us as a Mexican entity could acquire this usufructo.
Just the ejido is the ejido, and the lawyers that do this, and they still, it's the same piece of land with the same folio. Just the usufructo beneficiary, it's a new one, and that's it.
And can that new one be a Mexican company?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Mexican company made up of foreigners.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then the company, the Mexican company, needs private contract with every foreigner, which is what will be in digital in this case.
Right. So that would point to the, right? So this Mexican contract would point to the DAO, where we are all having a seat.
And each one, like you probably, I don't know if it's possible, you can tailor each contract two different amounts of investment that the people.
Right. Okay.
So maybe a certain amount of investment will not give you voice in the,
but maybe
the
just
decision.
dividends.
Yeah, but you just get the benefits like putting just few cents there and just getting back.
Okay.
And maybe a certain amount will give you the work, like the benefit to be
Right, the agreement that you get to build on a piece. Right. You get to build a house.
When you are in a position of just buying uso de suelo, you still cannot do it with the company.
Yeah, that's why the usufructo is.
In an ejido.
That's called the usufructo.
Sí, okay, usufructo, but at the name of one person, or you cannot do it. Some ejido accept
now
that you can do it.
Depends ejido. Some ejidos.
Yeah.
Like for example, I was in Oaxaca 2 weeks ago,
right?
And I'm looking to buy land over there. The place where I want to buy, they're selling to all kind of people, foreigners and everything, companies, because everything is ejido. They haven't entitled one single piece of land.
Okay.
All this area, no, like San Agustinillo, Mazunte, no one has a title. They don't even want to get into that. They say like, okay, we do private contracts. You want to buy it as a company, you want to buy it as a foreigner, we do an usufructo, it's a leasing, and it says in the contract that you can renew after 30 years. Or you also have 30 years to see what happens to the laws in Mexico, and maybe you can title. No, but they also have in the contract very specified, because it's more complicated than here. Here, most people already know about the title, the orden de ocupación, certificado parcelario. Over there is only orden de ocupación.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the process.
It's the beginning of the beginning, and they haven't changed in 20 years, and I don't think they're going to change in the future. So the contracts are like, okay, if you don't come in 5 years and start developing the land, I can resell it to another new partner of the community, because they still work as an ejido, and ejido works as a community. Ejido is another word for community.
No, here it's I see it's very risky, because when they sell like this, the ejidatarios, they remain ejidatarios.
Yeah, you cannot become.
So after 10 years, they sell half of the ejido or everything, half of the ejido. They can come together, make an assembly, and decide that, for example, they would never, they can make decisions.
Yeah, that's why they write like very specific contracts especially for the foreigners, because they guarantee like, okay, if we take a decision that we want to do this, we can only do this with the communal land. But the land that is designed for living space and renting and hotels and restaurants, like each owner has its orden de ocupación for as long as the contract remains. And then you can renew. So it's more about the contracts that you do personal. Of course, the ejidos here are much more stricter than in other parts, because here it's already a big business.
Especially during 2 years the comisario de Jacinto Pata is gobernador de Tulum.
Exactly, they haven't.
What you can do.
Because here the difference here is that the ejido really benefits on the land only when they have a cenote, a lagoon, a river, because they don't benefit of growing anything here. It's very rare, only in the middle of the peninsula, where there is soil. Here, if you want to put a couple of ejidatarios to grow anything in the land, they'll be like, no, sorry. I'm going to sell my land because it's easier money, it's faster. And
it's hard to grow there.
In order to grow something here, it's like, well, you have to invest a lot of money. So the government gives you help. Also, that's a benefit of ejido. You don't pay taxes on land, and you get benefits when you have this kind of projects that you present into the government, the federal government, and then you say, okay, we're going to start a program of reforestation. And we need so many avocados, so many this, and so many people that is going to buy, that is going to work for it. So when they start working, the government gives them, okay, we're going to give them a salary for this much to each one. The product that you make out of it, you can sell it, and the government doesn't claim back money from the ejido. No, they don't need the money. They're actually just investing on the ejidos, and the ejido benefits from what they create. That's why ejido and community is. If each one of you told me like you all want your house and your garden, I would say forget about communities and forget about the ejido. You know, get the title land and start building already. But because the purpose here is to create a community, ejido makes a lot of sense. Because the ejido is already a community. You know, you don't have to go through like, okay, we're going to decide like this and like that. So you actually become part. Your community becomes a part of a bigger community where you can take decisions inside but you also have to follow the decisions of all the ejido. That's why ejido is interesting.
Right.
That's why ejido is more interesting when you talk about community, because it's a community already. If you want just a piece of land, get a title land, and that's it. And then you can sell NFTs of 1 hectare or half hectare or something like that.
Now, I just wanted to talk about, I added a couple circles there, because I think it's important to understand the rights of NFTs, just as the different contracts that the ejido have certain rights. You can those are also programmable into the NFTs. So the NFTs could represent at the most of the center circle governance, and then outside of that circle maybe just equity, and then further outside is just utility.
Right.
You can program these into the NFTs. So with one specific piece of property, maybe you have a circle of founders that have all 3 rights. And then a little bit further outside that, you have a circle that just has equity and utility. And then at the surface level, you just have a circle that has just utility rights, meaning they just have access to use the land, but they don't get any revenue share. They don't have any governance over the land. So you can customize that in the specific NFT.
That's amazing. And if that can be done, that's what makes it so much easier.
And it sounds like that's what they're already doing just on their older.
That's more or less what it happens already.
Yeah.
Just a much older.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just speaking with them a little bit, and the thing that happened here, the different opinions, I think this is for growing everybody, no? And maybe what we were not able at the beginning to differentiate, it's 2 things. Here in Mexico, we have official law system that is different than the commercial, okay? So for building up a community like this type of NFTs and all this, you're talking about in that area, no? The laws that are according for owning the land, it's completely different. Right now, they had been there for more than 50 years. They had done little changes, no? In the future, it's going to be mainly the same. The way that maybe Abraham explained you is that when you buy land, at the end, the result of that is for you to having a deed with your name. No? How come it was able for you to be registered there in that deed? It's because you made a process through a bank or building up your company. Yeah. So if you're building your company, you have to be registered into the IRS system, Mexico, the taxing system. No. So that's the only way. You cannot own. You have to be either a company or just one single person. No. So that's the only way that Mexico is able to give the ownership of the land. There's not other ways right now in Mexico. And as far as I know, it's still, these ideas are great and would be like awesome if they develop, but we are not the ones that are going to say that. Are the people that is in the Congress, that they are doing the laws and they are signing the law. So the commercial side, it's awesome because you're a partnership in that company that company owns the land or owns a property, no? And you are like a member of there, and you have your strict regulations. You have your ideas how to work it and what can you do, what you cannot do, like in which area are you, like in the circles, no? But in the legal system that we have in Mexico, there's just going to be one person that owns and responds for that property. That's the only thing. So maybe we were switching in different levels, but it's 2 great things. One is like the legal process that we know a little bit more because we have been on it. And this other new thing that it's like the commercial, like building up a company that we might call community or we might call however you want. But for the legal Mexican system, you must have a name. You must be a persona moral or persona física. There's no other way.
Yeah, we will need to adapt to the actual system to introduce the new ones. Not waste energies of fighting that when it's not the moment yet, right? But for now, we will be, well, I'll try at least to be careful with the ownership word. For now, we're gonna stay with passive income and utilities. That you're getting all the benefits besides your name being there.
Yeah. And there's a contract that is separate from the central government,
of course,
which protects you.
Yes.
Also, like, I see a lot of benefits on this thing. And of course, there's a lot of it to learn, a lot of it to explain to the new clients, to the
go around, of course.
But like these meetings with a lot of people talking, it's amazing that we can actually understand each other and the benefits. The benefits of doing this are amazing. Like for me, I will say so much in notarios, on lawyers, on driving, on going, on paper. You know, it's like, it's just amazing that if we can all adapt to this system and you know, you can see the contract and review them and go with lawyers and everything. It's like, wow.
It's our duty to
make it happen.
Like we are pioneering and prove that it works, and it's like what the world is needing right now. And we'll go from the bottom to top and like talking with the correct people and circles, like for them to start looking what's going down in the most popular spot in the country.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah. Like Carlos and my job is to guarantee that whoever is buying the land is like the right owner of it. No, like if not, I wouldn't have a job anymore if I couldn't guarantee this to the people that is buying.
Right.
But then in the digital world, like you are the one in charge of making these contracts.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it to guarantee all the investors. But you as a company, you have to buy the land from someone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like at the first point, no, that's pretty much our job because that's what we've been doing for many years.
Yes.
And then you can resell, you can give shares, you can do that with your car if you want. No? If you have a car, you can do that with
yes.
Invite 30 people to Uber it if you want. No? I don't know.
Yeah, but regarding land and regarding properties in Mexico, we have a law system, no? And it tells you what you can do or not. No? Also, if you want to make 10 houses in one area,
well, that's the zoning.
That's the zoning. That's also condominium regimen or just an open neighborhood. But you have to attach to that.
Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that the land you're buying first is
like for the layout.
It's gonna be
not for the layout. It's more for how the government is going to look to your property, because you're buying a property and you're telling them all that everybody's partnership and everything, and it's a really. But what are you going to do in the land? The government will tell you, yeah, it's your land, but they will tell you, like, what are you going to build? You want to build a building, or you want to build 10 houses, or one retreat area, or what? They are going to ask you. You have to be responsible. And to answer that is not like, oh, I want to do this and that. Like, you have to adapt to the standards that are over there, and that's why you have to go with a lawyer or people that we already know, or that we already have been working on this, and we can tell you, okay, we're under a regimen this type, or do it like this type, because it's according to the law. So you don't go out of the law.
Yes. So does it make sense that we go for a fractionalized, like a fraccionamiento? It's like your fractionalized.
Maybe we will need to.
It will be, I guess, like if I think about my old ways of selling without the digital, like to have a community, it's easier.
NFTs? No, you just do the NFT, especially not to subdivide, because then everything blow up, because the cost is too high.
But how is the government going to see us as a como un fraccionamiento?
Like this.
No. The government see you as one, as a collective.
Right.
Okay.
The government recognizes this contract, right, that is purchased by a corporation. And this corporation, in its bylaws, this is what Andoni shared, the corporation and its bylaws points to the DAO.
Yeah, what Carlos was saying was that, let's say you buy a land that is in a protected area.
Right.
You can't build nothing.
Right, regardless of the DAO.
So that's why he was
actually,
saying like you have to.
That's not really
I mean, you can buy a.
You have different scenarios. You have different scenarios or land in some places where people live, and actually also can even make some divisions, whatever. But the land has a kind of a special zoning, very protected.
Okay.
Which is actually interesting. Unfortunately, Tulum is not like this. It's kind of difficult in Tulum. But in Solidaridad, Playa del Carmen, and Playa del Carmen goes, I mean, it's big. It goes up to the road between the Coba Road. So 3 kilometers from here, we are in Playa del Carmen. Okay? Solidaridad. And Solidaridad there, for example, because of all the cenotes here, they have a big zone, huge zone that represents 20% of all the Solidaridad, which is called Corredor Karstico, where it's rules. For example, if you want to build in the jungle, you can build 5 houses or 5 cabanas per hectare. Which is great. It's not nothing, but actually 5. All the Corredor Carsico, it's 500,000 square meters in Solidaridad that goes up to the Coba Road over there. And here, and it's very clear. I mean, they've been doing a great job of protecting land. And they tell you what you have the right according to anything you want to do. If you want to create an amusement park, this is what you can do. If you want to do ecotourism, you can build that. If you want to create a museum, biologic museum, if you want to do UMAs, animals, protect jaguars, whatever, this is what you have to do. If you want to use a cenote, you open like a cenote to public. This is the way you have to do. You have to take the measure, see the cupo limitado, how many people, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of it's a huge work. It's a document and it's really nicely done. Unfortunately, Tulum doesn't have that.
I mean, it has it, but you can't pay and then change it.
Yeah, but they did not even have it.
And how Solidaridad make it work and Tulum not?
Tulum is like basically the corruption is what is not making it.
No, because Tulum never actually.
No, they have a plan de desarrollo urbano. There's a PDU and they have the zonings and they have all these rules. Why nobody is following them? Because it's corrupt. The system is corrupted. And me as a developer, I come and it's like, okay, I can only do 5 houses. What if I want to do 10? It's like, okay, is this much money? I see my project. It's like, okay, I have a lot of money. I want to do the 10. There you go. And then you can do the 2. So that's, unfortunately, there's laws and there's a system. Once you can sell the land, it's because it has a zoning. But nobody follows. Like half of the
Solidaridad is not corrupted.
Also all Mexico, pretty much. Like in Shankan, you're allowed to do only 1 house per hectare in the land that is sellable to do houses, even though it's a protected area by the UNESCO. You can do 1 house of 150 square meters per hectare, which is not a big house. Like you have to have a lot of green. 90% of the land or 85% of the land is still intact. But then, like, let's say Region 15, which is like super developed, like it's the area that is developing the faster in Tulum. It has different zones, H2, H3. Some of them they allow to do 24 condos. And then you go, and some companies, I'm not going to say names, they're doing 90 condos in this land that in paper it says that you can only do 24. But that's corruption. And the thing is, like, when you're going to sell these projects, especially if community, if it's regenerative, if it's eco, if it's to sustainable and to improve the environment and improve the lifestyle of the people, I guess you have to just follow the rules of the zoning or buy in a very low zoning area that it's already protected so that you can guarantee that it's going to be always natural and always green.
I mean, the rules are not very, when they exist, you know, for people like this, I think, you know, nobody thinking of, you know,
overdeveloped. Exactly. So for us,
but one interesting point about this is on all the land, if somebody build something that is shouldn't build, one owners of an NFT on his assigned piece of land, you know, at the end of the day, if there is, you know, change of government, change of people, blah, 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 one day they come, they close you, they put you 1 million pesos fine. You have to know that the whole community, the company that owns officially will have to pay the fine. If the company doesn't want to pay the fine, they will seize the land. So all your NFT from one day to another will be zero. So it's when I talk about community, you know, that's the difference. When you have a title land, if your neighbor, you know, do whatever it does, he pays. When you're going to be on NFTs, if one guy that owns an NFT do wrong, everybody will pay. It's very important, you know, by the laws today. Because we're part of a community, for the good and the bad.
Yeah, there's rules. All communities need to have rules.
Exactly.
I think that's why you got to get really clear about your rules, because I think of me coming in as a member, or whatever you want to call it, I actually have some risk, because maybe everyone votes that I can build this house, tree house or whatever. 3 weeks later, they all vote and say, oh, wait a minute, you did it wrong. We're going to fine you $1 million or $1 million.
No, because you have to map all the rules. It's like an ejido. It's very complex with the ejido.
It has to be thought out.
And then everybody goes through here to take the decision. So it's pretty clear. It's very, like, if it's well done,
but the collective, I mean, it's even in an ejido today, if you want to do something, you are supposed to ask and to have permission from the ejido. Okay? Now, the ejido definitely give you a permission of things that is not permitted by the municipio. And the municipio will give you a permission that is not aligned with the state and with the federal government. And then after, you never know what happened. If you take Tulum, all the hotels in the hotel zone of Tulum, when they built the hotel, I mean, they had like regular building permit from Municipio de Tulum, but they were illegal. They were illegal because they did not comply with government laws of the mangrove and the shore, you know, the 20 meters. So federal government decided they let go. I mean, they could have decided to
not approve the project,
to not approve anything, and then all the people would be legal, and you know, and then the people would be in a kind of a bad situation.
Yeah, but I guess that wouldn't be our problem, because talking like with all these kind of people in these kind of communities, we all know we want to keep it restricted.
That's why the definition. That's why the organizer of the collective through the NFT really has a responsibility or not. He needs to say, okay, in our governance, this is the way we do it, but we don't feel responsible about the external law. Or, at the contrary, because it is mapped to a company, I mean, it has to incorporate some rules about respecting the Mexican law or not. Or what happens if you don't respect, and it causes a loss of value to the whole community. You know, what do we have the right to hang you, or to take your money, or to sue you, or do you put a bond in guarantee?
You can get kicked out at the time of
yeah, you know, for example, in the communities that exist here for a long time, like Puerto Venturas, Mayacoba. You know, when you start building in Mayacoba or in Puerto Venturas, you know, you put a bond, you give like a deposit of $50,000. They say, you know, if the guys come and, you know, you build something that, and you don't comply with the building things, And it's not only the size. It's, you know, you don't pay the guy right. You don't pay social security to the workers. You don't pay liens. How? And then the community is like becoming a small government, trying to make respect law, which basically is decentralization, because there is a good and a bad in decentralized. Because when you decentralize and you want autonomy, now you have to do everything, because that's the principle of the autonomy. And that's not easy. Look how the Navajos and in the United States are running the Indian Navajo nation. I mean, they do everything. Yeah? They have their judges, their court, their schools, their university. I mean, freedom, decentralization, and autonomy comes with a lot of responsibilities. But what's good about it is that you can do progressively. You can say, okay, as a group with the NFT, we deal with that. But you know, this, you know, security, police, narco-trafficantes, you know, we don't go in that. We make a deal with the government, so we can use the police. So that's the big development.
That's where we need to go on, and to somehow they let us, the community, participate, or at least prove them that they can try this system and talk to the correct person in there, because I have faith that there's people up there in the government that are willing to make a change and to somehow make them try. Like,
yeah, for the communities, again, for what we're trying to do is very easy, because we don't want to overdevelop. No, this is not the purpose.
Yeah, but I think this goes, it's very general, but there are a lot of things that people disagree on. And I think if you get, this is the whole point of stewardship, it opens up a whole other level of human affairs, of governance, you know, what kind of buildings are allowed there. If there's like an extreme vegan, people who don't even want to hold animals, and someone wants to have kettles, then they don't allow it actually. Or there are all kinds of philosophies. And I think this is like the black spot that we don't really target on with all this economy and all this masculine thinking, that there's this whole other level of cosmology, ideology, and that is the framework on which we build our governance. And yeah, I think these things that need to be decided for people to come together in communities.
Yeah, and everything goes by a step. So the first thing is, if you want to do a community that has per hectare 5 houses, you have to buy the land that is going to allow you to do that. And then when you start selling the project, you show a project. You show like, okay, there's a farm here, there's a garden here, there's this, there's that. So this is the development plans for our community. And then the ones want to go in, they go in. The ones that doesn't, they doesn't. If like a lot of people want to make a change, that's when you go to the assembly and then everybody votes to live. Like, okay, now like half of the people decide they actually want a cow in the property because they want it, and then have said no. So you go into a votation.
Yes, but it needs to be very well thought out. And because it can sound good in the process, but then you're in there, and then you suddenly think, okay, this hasn't been done good, and then people leave out, and so I think it's a whole different dimension.
Yeah, but this is the whole problem of living in community or creating community. The first problem, why it's so difficult and why we have so few. And I tell you, I'm working that for 15 years. Because people, they love community because there is this need into doing things in collective. At the same time, we cannot live with so many rules. And people, they start and they leave because now, we create this beautiful pool for 25 houses, and one guy go naked at 9 o'clock, and a family, there's a kid of 8. Now you are naked, and my little boy of 7, so you're naked in the pool, and it's the end of the world. And all the communities, they end up imploding for that. So it's really community. It's not easy.
Not easy at all, but that's why with NFTs, like exploring this side, and what people has been liking about our project is that we are showing ourselves We're showing our preparation, our mindset, our vision. As I was saying out there, if you go in the NFT place, an NFT space, they consider you, well, it's not officially, but a successful project is a project that is working and the team is working. Like if they raise money and go, that's kind of happening pretty commonly. So the aspects you were considering are very, very important, and you will see it's your choice. That's why everyone out there is giving crypto and NFT advising. It's saying NFA, not financial advice, because it's your choice which project which vision and which project you purchase into, and which community you will be joining at the end of the day.
You can actually create 3 different communities. One only for vegans, one for people that want to get naked.
In New York, they're called ghettos. And now you have a nice Chinatown.
You can do that in communities too.
You have little Cuba in Miami.
That which sounds good is not what
Don't mix the people.
Yes, you need, well.
Yes and no. At least from my perspective, when you get a project proposal, there's always and you start taking into criteria certain aspects of the project to kind of highlight and comparatively understand the strengths and weaknesses what's behind it.
Yeah, and then you know where you're getting
many companies, when you're looking for companies to invest on, you look at who's the team behind it, who's the founder, what's the culture, what's the mindset of the company, how is it founded. You want to look at its assets. Is it able to pay its dues? Is it able to answer with collateral for its economic commitments out there with the public, offering services, products, etc. And you always want to find the positive cash flow. You always want to find things that are not based on double speculation, but that have certain anchors.
And don't you speak it louder?
But a community is not a company. I think we fail miserably and we treat communities like company.
Communities come in all shapes and sizes. Communities come as companies, communities come as assemblies, communities come as roomies, communities come as families. And to me, this is an easier way to each and every one of us have a more decentralized and autonomous lifestyle. That, for example, I see how little attention people pay to their co-regulation. So if they have property ownership in different assets or finances or whatever, either an expert is taking care of it because it's undoable. So you would spend your life in red tape and endless paperwork. And people are choosing this part because of the tools it brings for you to manage that community building. And it's something that does not rely on just having someone physically there. It's remote. And it can, like, if you do a good project, like we're doing, right? I consider that we're doing right now, where in one single instrument, it's like a guerrilla gang coming from another planet to save Earth from catastrophe. And it's bringing matcha. There's a matcha company that's giving you revenues. And right now, because of this hype, it's starting to also have its own beat, its own rhythm as a venture. We're putting that also together into trading. There's an enormous market in knowing which collections are really worth their money, that really have something behind them. It's not just the hype as it is. And you want to focus on something real. So when you bring a project that has all of this, it's something that, because of how early it is and where we're trying to take it, it allows us to put together projects that would usually be lost in paperwork in your cell phone, in your decisions, in your pocket, in your wallet, and it's transparent to the point, it's democratic to the point, and it's graded to the point. So
yes, I totally understand, and I think, but my point was more like in the theme of the day is like land stewardship. Yeah. But there's a guy. Last year he published something, rebalancing society. It's also Steiner also talks about the threefoldness of the social organism. So we in politics and in everywhere where we talk about right now, it's all economy and politics. But he says that there's a third element that's the social part of the cultural part. And there are like totally different laws applying to it. For example, you only have like lending money and buying money, but all of culture, all of children, it's all patronage is on gifting, you know, and just generally, and there's like a whole different, the periphery, not the center, the feminine, not the masculine. And yeah, I think it's a bit off topic right now, but I think it's something that we still have to include. I think it comes into things like our dreams, our aspirations, our homes, our traumas, the sacred. This is also something that is going. This is not happening in the field of economy, and I think these are things that are just as important. You know, in common language, symbology, a story. Yeah, absolutely.
We need you in our community. By the way, I was just gonna add to you. Doing things differently is always more attractive, and our sale event, we always marketed it as organic. So we're just gonna, like, since there you can start seeing like the nature of the project. The sales started, and we have just keep going, and the people joining, like the correct people joining at the right time.
To join together to transform plastic into fuel, to take care of beach cleanups, to get together in tree houses of their own volition. So this is an invitation to start a journey when you can have a very digital and very active mindset.
Yes.
That decolonize, decentralize, and allow you to connect in a different polarity with all of our environment. And globally, I think we are taking baby steps and quantum leaps at the same time of how to integrate this into our life. And to me, this, if it weren't a part of like, this sounds crazy. If I talk to this to someone or to myself 5-10 years ago, it makes so much sense. You know, I come from supporting self-realization, self-governance, and self-determination over government or collective anything. You know, comes from that. And to me, this is a very powerful tool to put our money where our hearts are. You know?
Yes,
because I definitely don't want it in a bank if I don't need to. I definitely don't want it sitting out there if I don't need it. I don't want to lose sight of the assets and property of art, of ideas, of companies, of, you know, energy that we share. So if I have a tool that puts it right here, gives me amazing amount of data and facilitates that information. Wow.
I think the fuel part can also not be overestimated, because this is what money actually is revolving around, having an asset that everyone needs. And I think fuel is the one thing that really can give currency value.
Absolutely.
I think it's groundbreaking.
Power
to be autonomous.
Totally. Yes. And I wanted to add, like, in concepts of community, like our project, we already hit the 25% sold. So that's around 1,200 NFTs. And the developer told us there's a average of two NFTs per wallet. So we calculating maybe 500 people already that we've been sharing our vision for 5 months, and something that they heard they like, or something that they saw on our roadmap they like. So our sale is going as planned, you know, like organically, and that we're building organically. But now that people is in there, they're needing to, they have a sense of they want to build this community. So our Discord, that is the platform where we communicate with the holders. It's like technical right now. So you have announcements, you have plans, you have all the info, but we are missing. Well, we have the chats, of course, and some Guardians of Nature chats and Love Nature, but we want to restructure like internally. Well, that's what we're working yesterday and today. Restructure internally in channels, so that the community is like you turn on the TV. And of course, you don't like everything on the TV. That's why you browse into your favorite channel. So we're dividing on, to mention a few, instructional. This is for new people that know nothing. The alpha calls. People is just here for, some people are there for the investment, you know, like these guys.
Investment advice.
Yeah, the investment advice, like they see you as a leader, and they trust your intuition and investing. So there you got the alpha call. But then you have the sustainability channel. Well, where internally on the team, that's where I would go. I'm not really interested in music or in traveling, but I do like wellness, spirituality. So we're trying to have like different channels, like different, like, let's say we have Regen Tulum, and you have all the regeneration prospects. So you start canalizing people into the right places. Not you, them. You just tell them the structure. If they are in, they can find for now in the community, they can find their spot where they will just not be looking at what's going on and getting all confused with the chats, because it's literally people from all over the world just talking. And since the beginning, you bring them into what they want or like from your community. Sustainability channel or movement, art movement, the music and the lifestyle movement, the fashion movement, because there's opportunities coming all over the world. It just internally you need to make it like a nice place for everyone, and of course follow rules, because if you break the rules, you can get kicked out of the server. But yeah, it's a little bit of a mind game on inclusion for everyone. But I recommend this sale, you know, because this type of sale, like the organic, because otherwise you invest a lot on bringing hype, and people just were like blinded with the hype, and they invested in something that is not relevant for them, and then they drop the NFT, and your project starts going down instead of going up. Yeah, those are my 2 cents on whenever you start selling NFTs. Like, keep it organic, baby.
Yeah, so all right, it's like went way over time. The conversation's great. I appreciate everyone's engagement. I'm just gonna end the call. If anyone wants to stay and hang out, we have kind of carte blanche to stay, chat, continue to discuss things. Any closing remarks? Any last questions or topics that we just want to?
I guess as a closing will be like, for your project, it's amazing. I really like it. Like the first step is probably guarantee that the land that you're getting is doable for the project.
Right.
And then that the project has the contracts for the different kind of people that wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's well done, I can see like a lot of possibilities.
Right.
Because it's a facilitator of what is already happening.
Yeah.
A big facilitator of what is already happening. And you don't have to be here to take decisions. You might not even want to come ever here and get a part of a property. You know, like I think it's very interesting, this development of achieving not only real estate, but any other things, but with the real estate and the loss that are at the moment applied for land ownership. It's amazing. They can be like hacked or just go around the corner with some new rules that are already happening.
Right.
And it really facilitates the buy and sell or the contract between two entities.
Right.
I think it's just great.
Cool. Yeah, and so this is the, again, intention of these days, to bring experts in different fields with different ideas and different strategies and different best practices to see how we combine all these things to create something new, innovative, and let's say what the world wants us to think is alternative, but it's just the new way of doing things that's coming up. Right? Decentralized is one of these big words that we see a lot. Just how we were used to watching TV from the TV providers, which was like 5 channels. We can now watch TV from each influencer, co-creator that we like to watch, right? Entertainment has been decentralized. We used to call one taxi company, still here in Mexico, but we are here in this area. We used to call one taxi company to provide us car service. Now with Uber, we can call any one person with a car to come provide us services. And so this is a way how we don't need to prove to one government who owns the land. We can do it through a new system where it's digital and broken up, decentralized, and then just present it to the government in the right way so that this holds some jurisdiction.
Exactly.
And this is what we're really exploring. Awesome that you guys are all here together today. Super good. Yeah, man, I'm super grateful. Thanks everyone for coming and for asking questions and getting involved and sharing your knowledge. Welcome to the tribe, guys. This is what it's about. Regenerating the planet, regenerating ourselves, and creating new systems that bring abundance to everybody. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's take a picture. All right, guys, we'll be back next Friday for the next Regenerative Community Co-Creation Workshop, which will be on, what's the next topic? What's next week? Yeah, let's take a picture. Next week is master plan. Next week we'll be talking master plan. So come and join us here or join us online. Thank you guys. Okay, well, to our new guests, we just wrapped up this amazing Regenerative Co-work Day. We talked about land stewardship. You guys can stay tuned. We are going to take some pictures, and we are going to have a circle table discussion. If anyone has any questions about land, mojitos, ownership, stay tuned for a bit. We just wrapped up a good meet. This was our chart on how NFTs make up the DAO organization, and how this is the digital, in this digital world can be represented in the physical world. It's a strategy that some of the team members here shared today. Contracts going to Mexican corporations that point to that. We'll be sharing all of this online with our Discord chat. So stay tuned, keep watching, raise your hand if you have any questions. We want to know if you're visible. That's what you said.
I want to see my backpack.
Group picture. Yeah.
Facundo, cuando yo hablo aquí se oye un eco. Cuando yo hablo aquí se oye un eco.
Okay, group picture. Everyone get together. Where should we stand? Right there, over here.
Yo lo estoy haciendo.
Yo aprendí un poco que ya como. Okay, can everyone stand over here so we can take a group picture?
Guys, come here. Picture.
Yeah. Okay, everyone back here. Let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. Woo, Team Plastic Positive.
It's here, it's here, it's here.
What? No, everyone's going to stand here and they're going to take the picture from over there.
Sí, sí, eso es lo importante. Cuando tiene que pararse todo de frente para acá.
Todos mirando para allá, ¿no?
Mirando para allá.
Se me hace que sí están bien, pero...
Everyone stay silent. Mirando para allá, mirando para allá.
Ah, para allá.
Pues ya fui parte de sí. Sí, yo le por ahí no conocí.
Oh, she's
para que salga
¿No?
Jules, you can stand here, Bill. If someone wants to stand on that chair, they can. Someone jump on that chair. Jump. Nice.
Woo. Regen.
Está bien.
Can I do a selfie? Selfie with the phone.
Selfie with the phone.
You want to stay on the
Yeah.
Nice. Going nuts.
Regen, to the moon, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank everyone for coming and sharing and asking and learning. Dude, so good. Dude, so look at this magic that's about to happen. My magic here, man, is to open a room and connect you with these guys and literally find a piece of it, put it on a dial, own it together, build those shit.
Und bevor ich nochmal bei euch vorbeikomme,
Right. I do that too. Right, this is the thing. This is how we all win. You win, they win, I win, they win. This will win. She's gonna have a planet. That's really the goal. That's really it. Ya, ¿cómo es la billetera? ¿Cómo es la billetera para eso?
Sí, ahí le vamos dando.
Gorilla Bros.
Sí. Yo soy ingeniero civil allá en Estados Unidos y estoy entendiendo, pues he trabajado allá y he aprendido mucho allá, pero palabras.
En papel.
Sí.
Pero so good.
Bueno.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Well, guys, thank you for being here today. These were our land experts here in Mexico who told us about ejidos, indigenous land. What's the process? Also about tithing. The process of using crypto and digital tools in order to distribute the buying potential of a piece of land, allowing multiple people to purchase land in a safe and shared decision-making way. Innovative and new. One of the summaries was that the digital world is on one side and the physical world is on another side. And our key mission in this process is to build the bridge between using these new digital tools and combining them with a traditional world of state contracts, federal government, and traditional land that's always been here. So if anyone has questions, again, please ask. I would love everyone to join the Discord. Can we drop the link for the Discord, Facundo? Puedes poner el link del Discord ahí. Join our Discord. We're going to share it here in the chat in a few seconds. And follow our Instagram, regen.tribe. We'll be broadcasting things there and sharing link to everything that you want to see, hear, and ask. Again, any questions, join, and we're going to keep streaming.